Welcome back, fight fans, to another video here on The Fight Game. Heavyweight boxing is an unpredictable extravaganza. It's typically difficult to envisage what's yet to come beyond the horizon of professional prize fighting. The sensations, the visuals, the feelings this sport yields are unmatched in its field and transpires far beyond a simple bout between two boxers. And while an undisputed fight seems to be an eventuality just out of reach, hope still remains moving forward as the dust begins to settle and talks continue to intensify. Boxing every now and again has its generational super fight. We talk about Mayweather-Pacquiao, we talk about Ali-Foreman, we talk about Hagler-Hearns. And the world hasn't stopped talking about an eventual super fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Nearly 5 years separate their starts in professional boxing, and to this point they've competed in 55 professional bouts, with both of them holding a win over every opponent they've faced. They display a common perseverance with successes from their own forms of adversity. One boxer who bounced back from a loss when many touted his downfall, another boxer whose difficulties didn't transpire from a boxing ring, but life itself. Yet here they are holding 5 world championship belts between them both. Along with that, the lineal heavyweight title with deeper origins than any other title in boxing. The significance of an undisputed heavyweight title fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is clear, indisputable, and paramount. If it's to happen, it would excel the state of boxing further than ever before, by showcasing plainly but undoubtedly the very best boxing can offer. Of course, the question everyone wants to know the answer to is alike the ones we've asked since battle itself. Who would win in a theoretical super fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury? Welcome to this video here on The Fight Game, where we ask who would walk out the ring victorious if such a fight was to materialize. To understand where we are now, let's look back to where we once were. In 2015, Tyson Fury defeated the reigning heavyweight champion, Vladimir Klitschko. It would be the last time we saw Tyson in the ring for nearly 3 years, as he remained inactive with struggles outside the ring. Having beaten the final boss in the game of boxing, there seemed to be little left to achieve. In that time, Joshua would continue his rise through the ranks, firstly beating Dillian Whyte on his first pay-per-view show, and then a meteoric rise in popularity ensued with the collection of his first world title. Joshua's first mega fight would come in 2017 against the last man to meet Tyson Fury in the ring, Vladimir Klitschko. With 80,000 fans in attendance at Wembley Stadium, the audience couldn't have been treated to a better fight. Watching this fight is a roller coaster of emotions. First, with Joshua knocking Klitschko down in the 5th round with an emphatic display of his punching power. But then wisdom strikes back with a knockdown from Klitschko in the following round. This knockdown, however, looked much more severe. Joshua held on, surviving the round by the skin of his teeth. The following round saw a recovery, and in round 11, Joshua cut the tension with an iconic uppercut. After that, Joshua forced a stoppage to finish the show. If that night was a test for Joshua, he passed with flying colors. The fight sent waves of emotion across the globe, and now it seemed that the heavyweight division had a new king with the passing of the torch event. 1 year later, we would see Tyson Fury return to the ring after losing an insane amount of weight. It was decided for Tyson to take 2 easy fights to shake off any ring rust before looking at a top opponent to compete against. In this time, talks of a Joshua-Wilder showdown had reached fever pitch, with Wilder rocking up a collection of his own highlight reel knockouts in the United States, more particularly against Luis Ortiz. Fury piggybacked on the talks, saying that if Joshua wouldn't face Wilder, he would. And after his second comeback fight, the heavyweight division's next mega fight was announced, the showdown between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Little did we know, the saga of Wilder and Fury would be a 2-fight affair. The first fight saw Fury box brilliantly, boxing primarily on the back foot, but Wilder's power would keep the fight competitive in the eyes of the fans. That danger materialized in the last round, where Wilder scored a dramatic knockdown. But in even more dramatic fashion, Fury managed to rise back up and finish the round the stronger man. The fight ended in a draw, and although there was still debate over who should have gotten the victory, there was one thing we all agreed on. We had to see a rematch. In the build-up to the rematch, Fury insisted he'd be gunning for the knockout. Wilder laughed at such proclamations, but not without insisting he'd be doing the same. When the rematch finally came around, Fury dominated, as if the first fight was never close at all. Going from pure boxer to puncher, he won by stoppage and correctly solidified himself as the #1 heavyweight in the world. On the other hand, Joshua would make his American debut and suffer a crushing defeat to Andy Ruiz Jr. With many corrections to make, an immediate rematch was made. In that rematch, Joshua boxed with diligence and finesse, going from puncher to pure boxer. He won in a decision victory and solidified himself as a champion again. If you couldn't tell, there's a compelling commonality in both Joshua and Fury's latest fights. Joshua changed his style to win against a particular boxer, and so did Fury. This sparks an interesting insight into how both boxers may prepare for an eventual unification fight. Not only can Fury box and Joshua punch, but the opposite is also true. You'd have to assume they'd resort to their natural styles for the first encounter, but entering the fight with intentions of fighting like they did in their last fights could turn out to be a crucial factor in determining a winner. If both boxers came to fight carefully, Fury would have the upper hand as it's his natural style. If both boxers came to fight, Joshua would have the upper hand as it's his natural style. If both boxers resort to their natural style, it's as likely as even as can be. If both boxers resort to their unfamiliar style, no one really knows how it's going to turn out. And this is why styles make fights is such a popular saying in boxing. The type of fight we'll see relies entirely on what style each fighter decides to bring to the ring. Joshua is perhaps more well-rounded than Fury, holding good skill and great power, but Fury holds exceptional skill. So in ultimate essence, it's almost impossible to predict how this fight will turn out. Joshua has newly found confidence after winning his world title back by displaying good boxing skills, but so does Fury after annihilating what many call the most dangerous puncher in Deontay Wilder. Joshua's knockout percentage ratio is much higher at 87% versus Fury's 67%. Fury has a 3-inch reach advantage, which may prove helpful in deciding to box Joshua at a distance. Tyson Fury, however, is definitely the much larger man, with over a 35-pound difference in weight from their previous fights. But even with the additional weight, most would still say that Joshua is the harder puncher. They're both in their prime, but Fury with the more experience, with 7 more fights on his record. Unlike Wilder, Joshua most certainly can box on the back foot if needed. But on the flip side to that coin, Fury will take a fight with Joshua much more seriously than Ruiz did with regards to his rematch. Perhaps the mental game will play a big part in such a theoretical matchup. Fury tends to have a way with words. For an unpredictable guy, he is quite the articulate one. We all saw Fury's victory against Klitschko. The lead up to that fight may or may not have had a heavy influence in how that fight went. Most would say it did, as Fury conducted himself with a strong conviction. The same can be said about the build-up to the Wilder fights. It's also worth noting Fury's willingness to engage with fans and those who are struggling around the world. It's indicative of strong character, and character has always been very important in boxing. After all, the boxing ring has been nicknamed the Chamber of Truth. Joshua, on the other hand, has also shown great character. For example, in his battle against Klitschko, by navigating through deep waters to come back in the later rounds, and also by making no excuses after his first loss, training like a champion and becoming a champion again. So with that being said, who would win in a theoretical boxing showdown between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury? If that question was so easy to answer, the world's betting industry wouldn't be flourishing every time a major boxing event comes around. So of course that question can never be answered until we see both fighters stand in opposite corners of a boxing ring and until that initial bell rings to begin what would be the biggest heavyweight title fight in the last few decades. But until then, anything we say is simply speculation. So we go to you, the fans. Who do you think would win if this fight was ever to come around? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, we hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider giving it a like as it helps us grow the channel. We'll see you in the next video here on The Fight Game.